On the 1st of January 2024, I weighed just over 26 stone. And as of this morning, I'm weighing in at 19 stone 9 pounds, which is a loss of about 90 pounds over the last, 17 months or so? This video is about how I did it. And it was all thanks to a stupid gallstone. If you might remember, if you're around at the time, a few years ago, I started suffering from gallstones, had a number of gallbladder attacks, including when I was out filming videos for this channel. And it got to the point where I had to have my gallbladder removed, but it was a good year or so of having these regular gallbladder or gallstone attacks. And I kind of learned that the main thing that was making the attacks come on was eating unhealthy food. It would always come after a takeaway, after a KFC or after a burger or after a Chinese takeaway. So that kind of forced me into making some changes to what I was eating, because I couldn't eat my favorite stuff because it would leave me in excruciating pain that made me think I was having a heart attack. In fact, the first time I had a gallstone attack, we got an ambulance to come out because we thought I was having a heart attack. The pain was that intense and just all the way across my middle bits that I thought I was dying. It was horrible. So yeah, it didn't take too many of those for me to realize, yeah, let's cut those things out. What I didn't realize is having the gallbladder removed wouldn't solve that problem. And if anything, there's now a longer list of foods I can't tolerate. Thankfully, when I have a food that I can't tolerate now, rather than it making me feel like I'm having a heart attack and making me want to go to hospital and get pumped full of morphine, it just makes me do unpleasant poo-poos. But they're very unpleasant, and I like to minimize the occurrences of them happening. So basically, I'm now in a situation where I can't tolerate really, really greasy foods. So KFC used to be one of my favorite foods. I've not had a KFC in like 4 years. I just can't eat them anymore. Because if I eat KFC, I know it's going to be much worse coming out than it was going in. And there's a few other things that go into that category as well. Like, I can have a couple of slices of pizza. I can't eat an entire pizza. If we're having a Chinese takeaway, I can still have a Chinese takeaway, but I can't have a beige Chinese takeaway anymore. I can't just have the British style Chinese takeaway, which is all the deep fried, battered stuff. I have to have, and this is a word that I learned as part of this process. Hold on, let me just make sure I'm saying it right. I have to have vegetables. I have to have vegetables now, and a much more balanced, much healthier diet. So as bad as the gallstones were, and I've got 4 scars from the gallbladder surgery, it really was the turning point, because it stopped it being I wish I could lose some weight, and turned it into well, I can't eat some of this stuff that got me as fat as I am. And that kind of led to the weight loss happening almost unintentionally. And from there, as soon as I started to drop a little bit of weight accidentally, it became quite motivating. Actually, maybe I can do this time, because I've made a million videos before about trying to lose weight. I've been trying to lose weight for years, and all that would ever really happen is I would diet for a bit, lose maybe 10 or 20 pounds, and then put 30 or 40 back on again. And my average weight over the course of a year was consistently increasing for about 10 years. And that was despite feeling like I was forever on a diet. But I figured, right, well, if I can't have some of these takeaways, why don't I just ditch the takeaways altogether? Because we'd got to the point where we had some really bad food habits. We had quite a stressful life. If you've watched any of the daily vlogs, you'd see that our daily life was pretty stressful day to day. 3 kids at home, always loads of stuff going on. And we didn't really have time to look after ourselves. But the gallbladder removal kind of coincided with the kids all becoming adults. They've all moved out. It's just me and Anna and our dog here now. And as part of that, we got more time, more freedom in our schedule. We don't have to have our dinner at a set time every day anymore. We can eat when we want to eat. And we've all of a sudden got a load of freezer space, because we bought a massive freezer to fill with all of Andy's fish fingers and waffles and things like that. And now he's not here anymore. We had a big empty freezer and decided to change the way we ate on a daily basis. So we lost the ready meals, we lost the takeaways, and instead started making a monthly trip to Costco. It's just over a year ago that we got our first Costco membership. We go to Costco once a month and we just buy a whole load of lean meat. We get some chicken breasts. We'll get a couple of different types of fish. We'll get a massive pack of minced beef. We'll get some pork. We'll get a load of stuff, a good 5 or 6 weeks worth of meats, and then come home, portion them up into little Ziploc bags. So we've got individual meal-sized portions of each of them. They'll go in the freezer, and then every evening before we go to bed, I take a bag of meat or fish out of the freezer. It goes in the fridge, defrosts overnight. So by the time we get to dinner time the next day, we've got our protein to base a meal around, and it's a healthy, leaner protein. And because I don't like to waste money and I don't like to waste food, I'm much less likely to go, oh, I can't be bothered to cook, let's have a takeaway because, oh, well, there's some mince that we've defrosted, I guess I'll make a spaghetti bolognese, or I guess I'll make tacos, or there's some chicken there, shall I make a curry? And as well as having all the stuff in the freezer, we also got a load of store cupboard essentials that we didn't have before. So we've always got various curry pastes, we've always got tins of beans and vegetables, the freezer's got different kinds of vegetables in. We've got a load of pasta and rice and sauces and seasonings and flavorings all in our cupboards. Like if we were to go into another lockdown situation, we could have fresh, healthy meals every day for like 2 or 3 weeks without having to go to the shops at all. The only thing we'd be missing out on is our fresh fruit that we have like for breakfast, to have it as snacks and stuff. But we've got enough vegetables in cans and in the freezer, and enough staples like the pasta, like the rice, that we could survive for ages. We're basically doomsday preppers now when it comes to the food. By not deliberately, but it's kind of where we've ended up. We'll be ruined if the power goes out, but we've got loads of dried food too. But it just makes it easier. We don't have to go to the shop every day. We don't have to order a takeaway every day. And I'm cooking again, and I enjoy cooking. I always enjoyed cooking. I didn't really have time for it in my schedule before. Now I do. I'm enjoying it. And just the act of having a home-cooked healthy meal every day makes it an awful lot easier to eat healthier the rest of the time, because most of the damage we were doing every day was with the takeaways and with the ready meals. And I'm not counting calories on a daily basis to do that. I know that if I'm cooking something from scratch with the ingredients that I've got in the house, it's not going to be a 1,500 calorie meal. Worst case scenario, it's going to be 700-800 calories. I'm still a big boy. If I eat a 700 or 800 calorie meal, then I've got to do some pretty heavy damage on my other 2 meals to end up in a calorie surplus at the end of the day. And because we're not going to the shops every day, and because we're not ordering food in, we're basically in that situation where if it's not in the house, we don't eat it. And the only stuff that's in the house is the stuff that it's pretty hard to overeat on. In addition to the cooking from scratch, we're also sometimes cooking doubles. So if I make a curry, I'll make 4 portions, not 2 portions. We'll eat 2 there and then, and the other 2 will get packaged up, put in the freezer. And again, it's an even quicker solution there for a day when we might be busy, we might be coming home late from whatever we've been up to. We just might not be bothered to cook at all. We've got our own versions of ready meals, and I would say there's probably 10 or 12 of those, like 2-person portions of things like curries and bolognese and chili and stuff like that in our freezer. So again, if I'm sick and can't cook for a week, we can just live off the stuff that I've already cooked previously and put in the freezer. On top of that, I'm doing more exercise than I've ever done before, but I'm not pushing it. I'm not going to the gym and pumping iron and working out all the time. I've tried doing stuff like that, and occasionally I do have little spurts of time when I'm doing that. But really, it's the easy old man exercise that I'm doing. I'm swimming fairly regularly. I'm walking more. I've got a standing desk with a under desk treadmill. I've got one of those pedal things that when I sit on a chair, I can pedal my feet. So I'm just looking to move more. When my Apple Watch tells me to stand up every hour, I'll stand up, but I'll go and walk around the house. I'll make sure I'm taking Dave out. I'll make sure I'm getting my steps in. I have the Apple Watch. I'll get my steps in. I do my exercise rings every day, but I do it as old man exercise. I'd love to go to the gym more. I'd love to have the motivation to like work out and become a big muscle man, but I've been trying it for 30 years. I'm probably not going to start now, am I? And then the other key I've found to keep me on track is to weigh in regularly. I weigh in once a week. regardless. I've weighed in once a week, every week for the last year and a half. That's something I've never done before. I previously used to weigh myself when I was actively dieting, and then when I stopped, I wouldn't weigh myself because I wouldn't want to see the damage that I'm doing. Well, now I'm not actively dieting. I've just made lifestyle changes, making better choices, and I'm keeping an eye on that by checking my weight. If my weight is going down and gradually moving down, as it does most of the time, then I know I'm still on track with the lifestyle stuff and I don't need to adjust. If I have a couple of weeks where the weight loss stalls, or if I put a little bit of weight on, then I know, okay, let's be honest. Am I moving as much as I was before? Am I maybe letting some snacks creep in that I don't need to be having? Have my portion sizes got bigger? And I'll focus back in with MyFitnessPal for a few days. I don't use it religiously. I can't use it religiously, but I can use it for 3 or 4 days burst to get me back into the habit of this is what a healthy day looks like. So if the weight loss starts to stall, if the weight starts to creep on, I'll do 3 or 4 days of tracking everything I eat on MyFitnessPal, and it just helps me refocus and remind me what a day is supposed to look like. And I'm not beating myself up for when I'm slightly slipping off plan. I'm allowing myself anything I want, really, apart from KFC. But basically anything I want, I can have in moderation. And if I overdo it, I'll know not to overdo it next time. And if I overdo it too far, my lack of a gallbladder and my relationship with the bathroom will make me not want to do it again. And all of that combined means that, weirdly, for the first time in my adult life, for the last year and a half, I've not felt like I'm on a diet. And it's also been my most successful period of sustained weight loss that I've then kept off that I've ever had. Now, don't get me wrong, I realise I am still a big boy. I'm still nearly 20 stone. My doctor, as far as they're concerned, I'm only halfway there. They want me down around about 13 and a half stone. Realistically, I can't imagine I'm ever going to get there. I think I was like 15 stone when I was about 15 playing rugby at school. The idea of me being 13 and a half stone, I just don't think is going to happen. I'm 6'2", but I'm quite broad as well. My lowest recorded weight as an adult is like 17 stone 10, which was from over 10 years ago now. If I can get down to sort of 17 and a half stone, so a couple more stone to lose. I was wearing medium t-shirts last time I was that weight. I'm still in a 2XL at the moment. A 2XL is getting a little loose. But if I can get down to a large in my t-shirts, if I can get to the point where I can walk into any shop and buy a pair of trousers, I still can't do that. I can't walk into a normal clothes shop and buy trousers and have them fit. I'm still hammering the Giacomo and the elastic waistbands. But yeah, if I can get to the point where I'm in large t-shirts, I'm like somewhere in the 15 to 17 stone range. I can buy whatever clothes I want to buy. I don't have any concerns about fitting on an aeroplane or fitting on a ride. And to be honest, I'm already at that point with all that stuff. I don't need a seatbelt extender anymore. I was riding roller coasters at Disneyland last year. So I'm already making a lot of progress on that side of things, a lot of non-scale victories. But I'm just happy slowly doing it. If it takes me another 2 or 3 years to get down to whatever my final target weight ends up being, and then we plateau out from there, I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm not in any kind of rush. It's taken a year and a half to get to this point. And there have been stretches of 2 or 3 months in that time where I've not really lost anything. And then I'll have a little burst where I lose a bit more in a burst, and it's fine. Slow and steady is fine. My theory is the slower it takes to come off, the less likely it is to go back on. So I'm happy just to keep doing it the way I'm doing it. And if I get to the point in a year where I'm talking to you in a year and I'm still 19 stone, then yeah, maybe we need to step up the exercise or be a little bit stricter on the eating, or I don't know, try something else. Because I realize at 19 stone, I am still too heavy. I've been able to drop one of my blood pressure medications, but I'm still on 2 others. I'd like to come off all that. I'd love to be able to come off the CPAP machine for sleep apnea. So there's still other health issues that I'd like to address. I'd like to lose more. But at the moment, I'm just happy with it going how it's going. And it's going really well. And I am sorry for anyone who was hoping for a secret system that they could follow off the back of this video, because there isn't one really. Annoyingly, and believe me, I'm 42 years old. I've been trying to lose weight my entire adult life. I realise how annoying this is to hear, and it's pretty annoying for me to say, but the swines were right. It really does just come down to eat less, move more. You know, you can't eat a load of takeaways and stuff and expect to lose weight. You can't sit in a chair all day and expect to lose weight. You don't need to go to the opposite end of the scale if you're never going to be at that end. I'm never going to be a gym guy. I'm never going to be a sports guy. I'm never going to be a salad guy. But I've got to the point where I found a healthy in between where I don't overdo anything, everything in moderation, get your steps in. I know, but annoyingly it does work. They were right after all. Probably should have listened and not done any of the fad diet stuff. Then I wouldn't have been in this mess in the first place. Part of me does think one of the reasons I got as heavy as I did is because of all the fad diets. My start weight when I first joined MyFitnessPal in 2014 was about 19 stone. It's about the weight I am now. And from there, it's been, 11 years of crash dieting, fad dieting, and ending up fatter than I was to begin with. And part of me does think if when I first joined MyFitnessPal 11 years ago, I'd just made a few healthy lifestyle changes, I'd be sat here now like 15 stone and never having been a big fat guy. But there was no telling young me. He was an idiot. Feel free to use the comment section to fire any questions at me. If there's anything I've brushed over or not covered in enough depth for you, let me know. We can use that as the basis for coming up with ideas for future videos. But for now, if you've enjoyed this one, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for our new Tuesday and Friday release schedule, our new sit down and chatty videos. And thank you very much for watching.